Hey guys, welcome back. We are doing lesson 16 for phonics. So let's get started. Share my screen with you. All right. It's going to take its time to load apparently. There we go. To lesson 16. So our learning targets today, I can read tricky words. I can reread stories from Gran to build my fluency. And I can keep worksheets and activities from a pausing point, but we're not doing the pausing points. So our tricky word spelling bee. All right, so I'm going to say a word. I want to see if you can spell it. The word is of, O-F. Great. What about the word from? From, F-R-O-M. Wonderful. What about the word I? I. What about tricky word who? Who? W-H-O. Who? What about the tricky word so? So. S-O. What about the tricky words all? All. A-L-L. What about the tricky word is? I-S. What about the tricky word some? S-O-M-E. Man, you're doing amazing. What about the tricky word are? A-R-E. What about the tricky word have? H-A-V-E. Wonderful. What about the tricky word were? W-E-R-E. Were. Tricky word A. A. Tricky word one. O-N-E. One. The tricky word two. Not the number two, but like I am going to the store. Two. T-O. What about do? D-O. What about the tricky word no? N-O. The tricky word the? T-H-E. The. Man, you're doing amazing. Fantastic job. Give yourself a pat on the back. Awesome. What about the word said? S-A-I-D. The tricky word was. W-A-S. Was. What about the tricky word once? Once. O-N-C-E. Awesome. The tricky word when, like when are we going? When. W-H-E-N. The tricky word word. W-O-R-D. Word. The tricky word where. W-H-E-R-E. The tricky word why. W-H-Y. Why? Tricky word we. W-E. Man, you're doing amazing. What about the word what? W-H-A-T. H-A-T. The tricky word which. Not a witch that flies on a broom, like which way are we going? W-H-I-C-H, which. The next word, here, H-E-R-E, here. The next tricky word, there, T-H-E-R-E, there. Our next tricky word, he, H-E. Our next tricky word, she, S-H-E, she. Our next tricky word, be kind, B-E. Another word, says, S-A-Y-S. Our other tricky word, me, M-E. Another word, they, T-H-E-Y. Their, like it belongs to them, like their house. T-H-E-I-R, there. My, M-Y. By, B-Y. No, N-O. Two, like the number two. T-W-O. So, S-O. Your, like your car is blue. Your, Y-O-U-R. Some, S-O-M-E. Some. You, Y-O-U. Wow, guys, we said a lot of tricky words, didn't we? We spelled so many of them too. What an awesome job. Give yourself 2 pats on the back because that was a lot of words. Way to go. So what I'd like to do now is read some stories from our Grand Big Reader. Let me get our stories up here. And I'm going to start with the pet. The pet. Gran says, when I was in Hong Kong, I got a pet. What can it be? Asked Jen. Is it a fish? No, says Gran. Is it a dog? Asked Josh. No, says Gran. And notice they've got those bubbles going on here in these stories too, where they're each thinking their different thoughts, where Jen's thinking of a fish and Josh is thinking of a dog. Do you think they're going to be right? Don't know. Is this pet big? Asked Josh. Well, says Gran, he is not big, but he's long. Has he got teeth? Asked Josh. He has fangs, says Gran. What are fangs? Remember, what are fangs? It's those 2 long teeth, right? Just then the bell rings. Gran says, that must be him. So what's behind the door? Gran's pet? Let's see what's going on in the next story. Wong from Hong Kong. Jen yells, Gran, there's a man here with a big crate. Remember, a crate is a big box. Gran says, must be Wong. Who? Asked Jen. The pet I got in Hong Kong, says Gran. Wong from Hong Kong? Asked Jen. Yep, says Gran. But what is this Wong? Asked Josh. There's Wong in a crate. Now remember, how did she describe Wong? He was long and had fangs, right? Gran takes the lid off the crate and lifts up a long black snake. Sweet, says Josh. Wong is a snake. Eek, Jen yells. I am scared of snakes. Gran says Wong is a safe snake. There are snakes that can kill us, but Wong is not one of them. This is a snake we can pet. So what kind of snake was Wong? He was a good snake, wasn't he? And there's Jen and Josh and Gran holding Wong. Where is Wong? Help! Gran yells. What is it? Says Jen. Wong is not in his crate, says Gran. Where is he? Where did he go? Did he go back to Hong Kong? No, that's too far. Oh, let's see. Gran looks worried, doesn't she? She sure does. Jen checks the pots and pans. He's not in here, she yelled. Check in the den. So where did they look first? The pots and pans. Where did they look next? The den. Jen's checking the pots. Josh checks the den. He's not in here, he yells. I went back to Hong Kong. Do you think? Nah. And there's Josh checking the den. Just then, Wong peeks up from a big vase. There he is, says Josh. Gran runs to Wong and picks him up. She pets the snake. She is glad to see him. So where was Wong hiding? In a vase. And there he is, in a vase. All right, I'm going to read one more. Okay, the swim meet. Josh and Jen like to swim. They take Gran to their swim meet. So who did they take with them? Gran. Jen lines up in lane 5 and Josh lines up in lane 6. So what lane are they in? Jen's in 5 and Josh is in 6. The kids are up on the blocks. Then there is a beep, beep. All the kids dive in. Splash! Swim, yells Gran. Swim fast. I think she's yelling at Josh and Jen, to swim fast. And there they are. Josh and swim as fast as they can. They swim and swim. In no time, they make it to the end. Did Josh win? Asked Gran. Did Jen? Josh and Jen wave and they smile. They did not win, but they had a lot of fun. And there they are. How do you know they had fun? They were waving and smiling, weren't they? They looked happy. All right. So let's go back to our slides. Okay, so we reread some stories from our Gran reader. We're not doing the small group, so our learning targets, we read some tricky words, we reread stories from Gran to build fluency, and it says we worked on worksheets and activities from pausing points. That's the one thing we didn't do because we don't do that part. All right, guys, so let me stop sharing. All right, so that is the end of lesson 16. Until tomorrow, friends, see ya.